Hello, my name is Glenn MacArthur, and welcome to to Absolute, the Absolute Truth. And this Absolute Truth is going to be about the icy road conditions and the problems that people such as yourself that may have been entailed with one. From somebody who has gone around, who has gone through the Siberian Express and Snowpalooza and a few other things, I can guarantee you, I've I've got more miles under, and as being a government contract, being a contractor, I've probably got more miles underneath me than Neil Armstrong had when he was flying. So on that case, I'd like to talk about this crashing and how to save yourself, keep yourself out of the morgue. I've got a few tips that may keep you rolling. Okay, the first tip of it is this, is that you need to understand your car. Uh, if you have an automatic, you have you have a one and a two and a drive gear involved, and each one of them will lower the center of gravity of the car in any event, will keep you from ending up in a bad situation. The first thing you need to understand is this: ice is unforgiving. It doesn't play games, doesn't like you, and it would rather just be like that guy on TV, the guy who with the State Farm, the guy who rips up everything. You remember him? He basically that's his job. But ice job is basically to make it untransferable. Okay. Now, ice doesn't care, and ice is a bear. So my advice to you is this: if you're traveling in a truck, stay the heck at home because you don't want to be dancing with the grizzly. Basically, trucks have lousy center of gravity. They're not stable unless you have 500 pounds in the back. And even if you think that you're stable with a four-wheel drive, good luck. That's four independent ways to end up going sideways. Now, stay out of the nosebleed section. And now on to the next one is basically do your reconnaissance. Understand the area you're in. When you make sure it's flat, if there's a way to get to and from where you want to go without having to go up and down a hill, use it. Any grade more than 2 or 3 degrees is dangerous as holy hell, and you're going to end up in the ditch. And you probably take a lot of people with you. Now, my advice to you is this: always look for an escape route. There are plenty of escape routes out there. There's a sidewalk, there's lawns, there's bushes, there's hedgerow. You do not, and there's curbs. Curbs are beautiful. If you can't stop, a curb will stop you. You may sacrifice a tire, but a curb will stop you, and that's a good thing. You can always buy a tire. Maybe even you may have to pay a little bit more for a wheel, but I sure as hell wouldn't want to pay for the down payment for maybe a Lamborghini or a Ferrari that may be parked out there in the street and I come flying into it. No, you don't want to go there. Now, I'm going to show you ways to minimize damage to your car. This here was my car a while back. As you can see, it's a 1975 C4 Corvette. Now, what I want to show you is this. This section here is the fender, okay? Now, the fender is made, this is what most manufacturers don't want to tell you, but the fender is made to collapse onto the wheel in a collision. This thing here may be between, let's say $100 to up to $400, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than back here. If you hit back here, this is kind of expensive. And this area up here is not that expensive. You can hit here pretty much in this area, and it's not gonna be that expensive. But the one thing of it is you want to stop the skid by stopping it with the tire. Now, the best way to stop a car with the tire is to aim for the curve. But you got to know the curve's there before you go down the hill. If you find yourself in a position to where you have to go down a hill, do like what I did in Missouri. when I had to go down a very steep hill, 45 degrees, I stopped dead. I put the car into first. I then I straightened my car out as I went along the road, and then I pointed myself like a dagger straight down that 45-degree hill. My mother was with me at the time, and she was freaked out. I says, "Don't worry, this is what a car does," because my dad told me to do this. Basically, I then took my foot off the accelerator and the brake, and I just let the car go down the hill. I maintained parallel, going straight, and I was looking at that curb like it was going to be my next date, because I knew that that's exactly what the car was going if it had to go. I knew. I didn't think I knew. I knew. So then when I got down the curve, when I got down the bottom of the hill, I was only doing 5 miles an hour. And my mom was freaked out. She says, "I didn't know a car could do that." Now I'm telling you, don't try this unless you're absolutely ready for it, and make sure that you know what you're doing. Because on black ice, it only takes just a little bit in going the wrong direction to go crazy. Don't ever, I don't care what your father or your mother or what your driving instructor in high school said. Don't ever make the stupid mistake of punching your brake or hitting the accelerator. Bad idea. If you find yourself going down a hill and you picking up speed and out of control and you're in first gear, you can always put it in reverse and angle yourself over towards the curb and start punching the reverse on your accelerator slowly. Not big time, slowly. You want to keep as much grip going through the ice as possible as you weave over towards the curve. Once you hit the curve, ride the curve down on your brakes, on your tire. Ride it down. You can always replace the tire. You can't replace yourself. Just remember that. Now, the next trick I'm going to tell you is this. Always be prepared. Carry a comforter, sleeping bag, possibly a little trenching tool like a shovel, a rubber mat, so you can pretty much pull yourself out of a ditch if you have to, but always carefully, okay? Always be prepared. And if you find yourself in the middle of nowhere and you can't get a hold of a cop or somebody and there's no one on the road or whatever, it may take 2 or 3 hours, an hour or two for them to get out to you. So remember, take it easy. Don't push the buttons. And always look for the escape lane. You don't have to hit that other car. All you have to do is maneuver to an escape lane. I don't care if you have to go down a ditch. My dad did it. Coming back from Ely, Minnesota, we were coming back, and he spun around and he took his hands off. He took his feet off the brake, and he just basically let the car slide backwards into the ditch. He put it in neutral. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It just slid right on back. We all laughed at that one. I mean, it wasn't like when I came back from Kansas, and there was I had to go through the last of the Siberian Express through Kit Carson's to Salina down to Wichita. Luckily enough for me, that road was flat. But when I saw 6 inches, when I was refueling, and I saw 6 inches of ice on my front end, I said, "Oh, this is going to be an ice storm." And when I pulled out, I took it real dead slow, and I went to the side of the road. I didn't bother driving in the middle of the road. Middle of the road was sheer death. I was on the side of the road doing 35 miles an hour all night long. 300 miles down Blood Alley. That was it for me. And when I got to the other end, and the cop and the cop pulled me over, and he said, "What are you doing on this road?" I said, "Well, I filled up a Kit Carson, headed out and going to Wichita," which was only 10 miles down the street from the Salina turnoff. He said to me, "Get off this road, get onto that side road, take it into Wichita. It's clean." And I said, "Okay, thank you." But let me tell you something, I did it. I did it. And even when I went up Avalanche Pass and I brought down a 928 in the middle of a fresh storm, they call that Avalanche Pass, Stevens Pass. It is. And it was icy going up, and it was icy coming down, and I maintained 25 miles per hour with a stick shift. And guess what? When I got to the end, the cop pulls me over and says, "What the heck are you doing going on that pass without change?" I said, "Well, you weren't here when I went up it, and no one stopped me, so I just went up it." He said, "You need change to be on this pass." I says, "Well, hey, hello, this is the first car with ABS." It was the first car with ABS, and guess what? Uh, they made it, and I said, "Who needs chains with that?" He said, "Get out of here! Never come back without chains." See what I'm saying? Whatever you do, be prepared. That's my motto. And stay out of the nosebleed section. You don't need that aggravation. Not unless you got a house, you're pulling a house, or even a trailer. I've seen during the Siberian Express of '79, I saw trailers, I saw tractor trailers flipped over, I saw trucks flipped over. They were the number one victim. On the Siberian Express, they buried, on the Kennedy Expressway, they buried um, about almost 100 semis, and almost 50 people got killed. My advice: be prepared. Know the weather, know yourself, and do your reconnaissance. By God, if there's anything I can stress, do your reconnaissance. It's a matter of who you are. Now, and just do me a favor, stay out of the morgue. And if you have to drive, make sure know your car, know what kind of damage you can do, and keep at least 20 to 30 seconds between you and the other car, because you can't you can't maneuver that quickly. Your car won't let you. The ice will flip you out. So that's all. That's speaking from experience. I hope to see you on the road, and I hope to see you not dead or even hear of your death because of anything you might have done. But remember, when you are on ICE's backyard, no brake, no gas, drive to survive. You understand that? You'll make it. So this is Glenn MacArthur with the Absolute Truth, signing off. Bye.